Okay, folks, so happy Thanksgiving. This is the Thanksgiving episode of Beyond the Gates. I thought it was pretty good. Now, 9 out of 10 for Vernon's speech. It was really, really good stuff. All right, so first of all, hope everybody has a wonderful and safe holiday and holiday weekend. And I don't want to waste any more of your time, so let's just dive into this thing. Now, Martin and Smitty get home from their jog, and Samantha has set the table for June, and they're impressed. That's when Terrell comes in and asks how long the dinner is going to be because he's eager to go see his girl, but that's when Martin urges him not to rush the moment. So that's when June shows with some pie and gives Tyrell an awkward hug. Remember, they really aren't as close as she is with Samantha just yet. That's when Samantha tells him that the food slaps and thanks Martin and Smitty for making sure she's not growing up too fast, which is, well, good. Definitely good, considering how fast she's been acting lately. That's why we moved to Terrell, who's thankful for Jessica and is falling for her. Bro, don't mess up your college plans now. Smitty's grateful to be back at work, and Martin is grateful for everyone there. And that's when June tears up and says that she's happy because this right here is what she's always wanted, and thanks them for allowing her to be a part of it. And to be honest, this was probably the healthiest Thanksgiving function of the episode. So over at the country club, Haley thanks Bill for agreeing to go there for the holiday instead of her having to cook. And she's surprised to see Vernon and Nita arrive. And he explains that, well, they're there for the holiday because they always give their cook the holiday off. And that's when Haley's like, wait, did you bring me here knowing that the Duprees would be here? And that's when he's like, well, if you want, we can just go somewhere else. But it's like, no, we're going to stay. Yet again, this is their family country club. Why would... Never mind. Let me keep it moving. So, while Anita and Vernon are at the table counting their blessings, like Bill's not sitting with them, which is hilarious. Hey, hashtag Thanksgiving clapback. That's when Izaiah comes in, and Nicole as well, and they chat about everyone and how everybody's spending their holiday. Turns out that Jacob and Naomi come in, and she actually goes over to Bill's table real quick to, tell Bill happy, Thanksgiving and whatnot. And that's when the conversation jumps to, so where's everybody? Now, Naomi tells him that Chelsea is being forced to have a vegan Thanksgiving with Madison's family. So she's still working on getting Madison and her mom to work things out. So that's why she's not there. And we know Kat's out of town with Tomas. Now that's when Bill listens to Haley talk about hiring an interior designer, but he's distracted because the Duprees are being too loud. And my question is are they being too loud, or is he just too zoned in on trying to, overhear what they're talking about? And of course, speaking of people running into people or being too intrusive, Haley bumps into Izaiah and says it looks like he's pulled off moving past being the black sheep of the family. And they chat about her trading in her friend for her father, and then she goes back to the table. That's when Bill stops by the Dupree table while Haley is away, and they talk about how thankful they are that Chelsea pulled through her ordeal of being abducted. Now, that's when Bill goes back to his table, and Vernon decides to stand up and make his toast. Apparently, this is an annual thing, and Bill tells Haley that, hey, I want to listen to this. And you can tell she's annoyed by it. But, after quoting some scripture, he then begins to talk about the sacred power of gratitude. Side note, look, I know things are rough for a lot of people right now in the world, whether it be financial, family issues, relationship issues, health, things of that nature. Just take a moment today and try to reflect on what you are thankful for. The first one being that you're still here on this earth. I know there's a lot of reasons to feel like giving up and whatnot, but just be thankful that you're still here. That means you have a purpose, and that means that he ain't through with you just yet. There's something around the corner for you, all right? So, all right, moving on. We go over to the newlyweds, and not Anita. We got Danny in the kitchen, and Andre's shocked And she's cooking. She said, "Oh, I'm cooking Thanksgiving dinner." And he's shocked because he didn't know she knew how to do it. And he figured that their family always went to the club. And she admits that this is her first time trying to make Thanksgiving. And of course, she tells him about the importance of Cascade. I love this stuff. I know it's corny, in your face advertisement, but I just live for it watching this show. I mean, come on. It's like when you're watching a YouTube video and an ad pops up. Unless you have YouTube Premium. So, that's when she tells him about how to use the dishwasher. And he mentions how his grandma only used it to store dishes, not wash them. Now look, in my house, I have never used my dishwasher. I tried to use it one time to clean the racks from my air fryer, but they were so black and crusty, I just had to buy new ones. But yeah, it's like I just wash my dishes because I never have more than like 4 or 5 to do at a time. But it's good to just have it. And I do have Cascade in my drawer. So, that's when he's like, well, is there anything I can blanch or braise? And she doesn't know what he's talking about. And it turns out the turkey gets burnt and he has to put it out with a fire extinguisher. And oh man. He tries to carve the burnt turkey and breaks the knife because he's like, so why don't we just order Chinese food? And she's like, I just wanted to give you a special day after taking away, time with you and Ted. So I just wanted to make this place feel like home. And they opt to have Chinese food and they watch TV. Oh man, that scene with the turkey reminded me of the Santa Claus. Now over at the diner, Ted and Eva are there and they're excited for fried turkey. And she's stoked, but knows it's a tough day for him. And as they eat, they talk about how she wanted to be an Olympic skater. And he guesses that Leslie didn't have time or money to support that dream. And that's when Leslie shows up and they start making up for lost holidays that they didn't spend together. Ted invites his daughter to Martin's for dessert and he tells her Kat won't be there. So Ted's relieved that Leslie says, I'll be going to the hospital to see Peaches. So they have a nice time together. And that's when Leslie decides, why don't you invite that Izaiah to come over to Martin's too? And that's when she mentions that, he's with family today. And Leslie's surprised when Ted mentions Izaiah is related to Jacob and Elon. And Eva assures her that he's not one of the cops like the rest of the members of the family. And she's like, it could work to our advantage. I smell a plot developing. So that's when Ted and Eva go over to Martin's for dinner and or for dessert, and they have a good time. I thought that was pretty nice. So we go over to Uptown, and Vanessa's there because Joey reserved the entire place for them because he's done all the cooking and she's amazed. And I sometimes forget that he is a food content creator. So he lists off the menu and she begins to cry up because no one's ever made her pumpkin brulee before. And Joey says that he wanted to pull out all the stops for her. And if it were up to him, every day would be a holiday. And as they're eating dinner, they talk about her kids and she worries that her daughter's lost, but the twins have become closer since they lost their dad. So you're not even spending the holiday with them? Hateful heifer. So that's when Joey wants to make sure Vanessa feels safe and she's impressed that he knows her that well and doesn't judge her. Well, I sure as heck am. And he's glad she enjoyed the dinner, but laughs that when she suggests he opens a restaurant, that's a bit too risky for him. I mean, hey, the Malones did it in the haves and the have-nots. So then we go over to the final scene to talk about. Jan is cooking for Ashley at her apartment, and her daughter's glad it's just the two of them and Mona. Mona shows up with collard greens, and she's celebrating because they just do some Black Friday shopping. And when she pulled out that spreadsheet, I laughed because back in the day, and I'm talking about before everything was available online and pre-pandemic and whatnot, Thanksgiving it was like Wednesday or Thursday, Wednesday or Thanksgiving Eve or Thanksgiving. Well, no, actually it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday night because that's when stores, because in my town, it's a small town. So Walmart, GameStop, Belt, and maybe a couple that was pretty much it. Those were the only stores that had like Black Friday sales. So we would pull out the papers, and specifically Walmart We mapped out, okay, so I'm going to be in line to get the toaster. I'm going to be in line to get the Xbox. You're going to be in line to get this printer. That's how strategic you had to be. But now you can just do it with a click of a button online. So when Mona pulled out that spreadsheet, I was done. That was just so relatable. But yeah, I thought this was a wholesome episode. That's really all I have to say. So again, I hope you and yours have a safe holiday, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.